I just got out of a showing of the Backrooms just probably about an hour ago, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. First, I'd like to just really appreciate the fact that currently, like, two of the most popular movies that are being talked about and that people are really excited to see are two films that are made by YouTubers who are like 20 years old. I think one of them's in their mid-20s and the other is exactly 20 years old. I think that is really cool, and I love that there's this new generation of filmmakers that are coming up through YouTube and that are making original horror films. I think that's really fucking cool. I think that's really fantastic. So The Backrooms, of course, directed by Kane Parsons, who made the original short film however many years ago. I remember seeing it when it first went viral, and starring Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renate Redzepi. I don't know what my expectations were going into this film. I don't think I really had any. I didn't really have... I originally wasn't that interested in seeing it, but after hearing some of the buzz that the film was getting, I decided to go check it out. And I was very much surprised by just how much I actually really enjoyed it. The movie really takes its time with building up tension and suspense throughout the runtime. It doesn't immediately just jump into the scares or jump into the horror aspects of the Backrooms. And even when we do get to the end and we see the really horrifying stuff that's going on back there in the Backrooms, it's done in a way that's actually really impressive, with just how much restraint and control that Kane has over this feel and over this vibe. And this movie definitely has some great atmosphere and some great just eerie vibes. One thing that I really enjoyed in regards to the film was just kind of like this idea that the Backrooms itself as a place is really kind of populated by the thoughts and the traumas of the people who go there, right? Of the people who get trapped in the Backrooms. The stuff you see is a manifestation of your own past and your own fears. And I thought that was done in a really cool way. There's this fantastic scene where you start out with this, where we start out with this room, and we kind of go through the layers of the Backrooms, and as we go down the room starts to degrade over time until it becomes just the Backrooms. And it was a fantastic scene, and I think really kind of captured what the film was really about. Honestly, and maybe I'm kind of out there for this, but I really got some vibes of Jay and Sean Brun's, I think it was their first film, or maybe their first like feature film, We're All Going to the World's Fair, where that film was about kind of losing yourself and losing your identity on the internet. This movie was about losing your identity to your own traumas and having yourself become distorted, having your reality become distorted, and the world around you, right? The Backrooms could have been a really, it could have been really bad. This could have been a fucking horrible movie, but instead what we got was a really thoughtful, meditation on memory. There's a lot of stuff in here about memory and how people's experiences kind of affect how they perceive their own reality. And we see that very explicitly kind of symbolized in the Backrooms and in these creatures, these beings that kind of that exist within the Backrooms. I thought the performances were fantastic. Chiwetel Ejiofor, I'm a big fan of his. I have been for a while, and it's great seeing him in a really good movie that really, highlights his talent. And of course, Renate, I've been a fan of hers since Worst Person in the World, and both of them did a fantastic job. And I really enjoyed the ending. I thought that the ending was done really well, and that last shot, just I'm still thinking about it right now, and I don't want to give too much away because I think that you should go out there and see it. And it's hard to talk about this movie without also mentioning the film Obsession, which is another movie that came out recently, which was made, very low budget. Backrooms, I believe, had a $10 million budget, and Obsession had under $1 million, but both low budget in comparison to, bigger films, especially something like Star Wars, which there's a Star Wars movie out right now. Does anybody remember that? Is anybody aware of the Star Wars film? Has anyone seen it? I'm sure some people have. But yeah, I mean, the fact that we have these two, original horror films made by young people that are just doing really well and that people are really connecting with and that they're really into, I think is, again, like I said earlier, I think it's really cool. I'm really looking forward to what Kane Parsons does in the future. I don't know if he said that he's going to make any more films, but I'm definitely interested in seeing what he does. I know one thing, one idea that came to me as I was walking back to my car was Kane Parsons doing a Portal film, a film based on the Portal video game, just because the setting of that video game is very much kind of reminiscent of the Backrooms. I mean, you're going through these empty test chambers while you're being followed around by this, lone, AI robot, and you see these observation rooms that are all lit up, but they're all empty. And then at one point in the video game, you do end up going actually into the back rooms of Aperture Labs. You're going like in between the walls and into the bowels of the labs. And there's also some horror elements of the video game as well that I think people overlook in favor of the more science fiction elements. Right? I mean, does anyone remember the Rat Man? I mean, that's pretty horrifying. That's definitely feels like, something that you would have seen in the Backrooms, the Rat Man. But yes, the Backrooms, the new horror film from Kane Parsons, really good. I really enjoyed it. I loved the vibes and the feeling of dread that just kind of followed our characters throughout this movie. And some great camera work and some great cinematography, and really big shout out to the set designers as well, who built these huge elaborate sets. It's a movie I'm thinking about still right now, and I feel like I haven't gotten all of my feelings out about it. And I'm sure that I'll probably have more ideas and thoughts later. I know that Caleb is going to see it sometime this week. When he does, I will definitely be interested in hearing what he thinks and how he felt about the Backrooms. But yes, the Backrooms currently in theaters. Go watch it. Go see it. And let me know what you thought below. Did you like the Backrooms? Have you seen the short film? And have you ever found yourself in the Backrooms? Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe and check out our other videos if you want to hear more about our thoughts on film and television. Thank you.